And Levi made a great feast in his house, and there was a large company of tax collectors and others reclining at table with them. Luke 5, verse 29. John Wesley once said, "No man ever went to heaven alone. He must either find friends or make them." Matthew's guests were other tax collectors, a section of society that nobody cared for. William Barclay has background on tax collectors of Jesus' day. The taxation system lent itself to abuse. The Roman custom had been to farm out the taxes. They assessed a district at a certain figure and then sold the right to collect that figure to the highest bidder. So long as the buyer handed over the assessed figure at the end of the year, he was entitled to retain whatever else he could extract from the people. And since there were no newspapers, radio or television, and no ways of making public announcements that would reach everyone, the common people had no real idea of what they had to pay. This particular system had led to such gross abuses that by New Testament times it had been discontinued. There were, however, still taxes to be paid, still quizzling tax collectors working for the Romans, and still abuses and exploitation. There were two types of taxes. First, there were stated taxes. There was a poll tax which all men from 14 to 65 and all women from 12 to 65 had to pay simply for the privilege of existing. There was a ground tax which consisted of 1/10 of all grain grown and 1/5 of wine and oil. This could be paid in kind or commuted into money. There was income tax, which was 1% of a man's income. In these taxes, there was not a great deal of room for extortion. Second, there were all kinds of duties. A tax was payable for using the main roads, the harbors, the markets. A tax was payable on a cart on each wheel of it, and on the animal which drew it. There was purchase tax on certain articles, and there were import and export duties. A tax collector could bid a man stop on the road and unpack his bundles and charge him what he liked. If a man could not pay, sometimes the tax collector would offer to lend him money at an exorbitant rate of interest, and so getting him further into his clutches. Robbers, murderers, and tax collectors were classed together. A tax collector was barred from the synagogue. Matthew desired for these outcasts to meet Christ. A converted soul will desire to promote the conversion of others. It is Christian duty to share the blessedness that we have found. Have a blessed day.